If the universe is made of matter, why does it behave like thought? For thousands of years, mystics whispered a secret that science is only now beginning to touch. Reality is not a thing, it is a mind. Dreaming in patterns, symbols, and vibration. The ancient Hermeticists captured this in 7 timeless words: the all is mind. The universe is mental. This is not metaphor. It is a blueprint, a key to creation, and a reminder that the boundary between thinking and happening is far thinner than we were ever taught to believe. Reality, everything we touch, chase, fear, and hope for, rests upon a single shocking proposition. All of it begins in mind, not the personal mind of fleeting thoughts and private worries, but the primal field of awareness, from which existence emerges. This is why the first Hermetic law does not speak of energy nor of matter, nor of gods, but of mind. For the ancients, mind was not a byproduct of the universe. It was the author. Consider this: before any invention, there was an idea; before any civilization, a vision; before every action, a thought. What appears solid is the final echo of something once imagined. Hermetic teachings simply extend this pattern to its ultimate scale. What is true for the small is true for the all. If the universe behaves like thought, fluid, creative, responsive, then we are not prisoners of a physical cosmos. We are participants in a living mental one. This single realization, once understood, becomes dangerous in the best possible way, because it implies that reality is not happening to us. Reality is happening through us. And with that, a new question quietly rises within the sincere seeker. If the all is mine, what then is my own? Long before books, before churches, before the first empire carved its name into the dust, there were temples of silence, hidden in the lands of Hem, what we now call ancient Egypt. Initiates gathered beneath torchlight, learning a truth not meant for the unready. They spoke of the all, they whispered of mind, and they guarded a principle so powerful it was veiled behind symbols, myth, and metaphor. At the center of these mysteries stood Hermes Trismegistus, the thrice great master. Some said he was a sage. Others insisted he was a god incarnate, a messenger, a bridge between realms. His teachings did not shout. They echoed across Egypt, into Greece, through the deserts of Arabia, into the quiet libraries of alchemists and monks. Across millennia, one message endured: all is mind. The scribes did not write this for belief. They wrote it for remembrance. For them, mind was not imagination or fleeting thought. It was substance finer than light, older than time, and present in every atom, star and soul. The universe, they said, is not built of matter but of meaning, a divine thought dreaming itself into form. The Kybalion, much later, would reveal fragments of these temple teachings, but only as shadows of what once was spoken, face-to-face, master to student. The ancient adepts understood a sacred order. First mind, then vibration, then form. Creation was not an explosion. It was a thought unfolding. And now, like a memory resurfacing from a previous life, these teachings return to you not as history, but as recognition. For if the ancients were right, Then the question is no longer where the universe came from, but who is doing the thinking. If the ancients were correct, if mind is the root of all things, then the universe is not a machine of cold matter. It is a living mind, infinite in depth, eternal in awareness and dreaming worlds. The way an artist breathes color onto a canvas. Hermetic adepts called this presence the All. Not a god of form nor ruler of heavens, but the very substance of existence itself. The All does not exist inside the universe. The universe exists inside the All. The way a story lives inside the storyteller, or a dream lives inside the dreamer. Every galaxy, every law of physics, every rhythm of birth and death, all of it unfolds within a boundless field of awareness. Yet this truth carries a second revelation one. The initiates protected with metaphors. They said you are not the All. And yet the All is not separate from you. To understand this, imagine an ocean. Endless, shoreless, deep beyond comprehension. From its surface rises a single wave, unique in shape, form, and motion. That wave is you, the ocean beneath it is the All. The wave may roar or crash or dance beneath starlight, believing itself alone but never, not for a single heartbeat. Is it anything but ocean in expression? So too, with consciousness, there is the universal mind, vast, silent and whole, and there is the individual mind, focused through a single point, like a sunbeam passing through a keyhole. Our thoughts are perceptions. Our identities are not illusions. They are currents within a greater sea. From this perspective, consciousness does not emerge from matter. Matter emerges from consciousness. Form is the final echo, awareness is the origin. And the moment a seeker accepts this possibility, the universe changes shape, because then reality is no longer an outside force to obey, but an inner realm to remember. Already the question begins to rise. If reality is mind, how does mind become matter? The next chapter begins that unveiling. For centuries, science and mysticism stood on opposite shores, each claiming to describe reality. One measured matter, the other examined meaning. Yet as our instruments grew sharper and theories pushed deeper, the physical world began to reveal something unexpected. Matter is not the foundation of reality. Mind, as quantum physics delivered the first fracture. In the old worldview, at the smallest scales of existence, particles do not behave like tiny solid marbles. They exist as probabilities, ghosts of potential until something observes them. This phenomenon, known as the observer effect, forced scientists to confront a radical idea. Consciousness influences reality. The universe does not fully exist in a concrete form until it is measured, perceived, or experienced. Hermeticism said this thousands of years ago. Now the equations say it too. Dig deeper and the pattern becomes clearer. Beneath atoms lies energy. Beneath energy lies information. Mathematical codes, relational patterns, fields of possibility. Some physicists now suggest that the universe behaves less like a machine and more like a vast informational construct, responsive and non-material at its core. Even space and time, once believed to be the unmoving stage upon which existence unfolds, are now seen as flexible, emergent, and dependent on observation. Modern thinkers have proposed metaphors to explain these findings. One is simulation theory, the idea that reality is generated, rendered, and responsive more like software than stone. While Hermeticism does not use this language, the parallel is unmistakable. A mental universe, expressed through patterns directed by intelligence. The deeper science looks, the less physical the physical world becomes. What we call matter is vibration, probability, and information. Structure arises from unseen laws, order emerges from invisible fields, and at every turn the universe behaves, as though awareness and reality are intertwined. Science has not yet spoken the Hermetic axiom aloud, but it has arrived at its doorstep. And so the ancient question returns, no longer as mysticism but as physics. If consciousness shapes reality, then what role does your consciousness play? Already a doorway begins to open, for if the universe is mind on the grand scale, then the individual mind must also possess power on the human scale. That is where we now go next. If the universe is a living mind, then your own consciousness is not an accident within it. It is a reflection of that same vast intelligence, focused through a single point of awareness. Hermetic adepts express this through a simple line that carries lifetimes of meaning. As above, so below the grand and the intimate. The cosmic and the personal are bound by the same laws, born of the same source. You are not a spectator in a foreign universe. You are a wave in the great ocean of mind, distinct in expression yet never separate in essence. The ocean does not lose itself when it becomes a wave, and the wave is never less ocean, for rising in its own form. So it is with you. Your thoughts are not small. They are currents shaping the waters of your experience. Imagination is not fantasy. It is the workshop of creation, the inner canvas where reality begins its blueprint. Emotion in the Hermetic understanding is frequency. It energizes the thought, giving it charge and direction. Perception, then, becomes the lens that collapses possibility into the world you walk through each day. This is why two people can live beneath the same sky and walk on the same ground, yet inhabit different realities. Not because the world changes, but because their minds do. The all thinks. Universes, you think moments. Stories, meanings, and choices. But the mechanism is shared. When a human being realizes this, not as theory but as truth, something shifts. Life is no longer a sequence of random events. It becomes responsive. Like a mirror that answers the face, you bring to it what you hold within. You meet without, and so the question deepens. If the individual mind shapes its personal world, can it shape more? Can thought become form? The next step reveals how thoughts become worlds. Nothing hunts you, except the consequences you summoned in shadows. You forgot. Fate is not a patir, it is an echo. The law of cause and effect moves like a silent predator, never seen, never heard, yet always arriving. Every thought is a trigger. Every choice is a bullet, every action a ripple that will eventually return to the hand that released it. There are no accidents, there is no luck. There is only resonance returning to its source. The Hermetic masters warned, He who does not become the cause becomes the victim of effects. Most people drift through life like debris on a violent sea, pushed, pulled, and broken by waves they themselves created long ago. They blame chance, they blame fate, but the truth is far colder. You are not being punished. You are being mirrored. Outcomes are not random. They are signatures written by your beliefs, sharpened by your decisions, and sealed by your actions. Energy does not vanish into the void. It circles, stalks, and returns. Technique: the causal mirror. Tonight before sleep, ask yourself 3 questions. What am I experiencing right now that I once caused? What effect am I creating today that will haunt me tomorrow? What new cause must I release to bend destiny in my favor? Answer without emotion, without denial, without fear. This is how a mind evolves from prey to hunter. When you master cause and effect, you stop begging life for mercy and begin commanding it with precision. But to command reality, you must master the force that moves through all forms. Next, we descend into every reality begins as a whisper inside the invisible. No explosion, no sound, only a thought, quiet, deliberate, electric. From that seed, the universe obeys Hermetic law. Names the process mentalism births correspondence. Correspondence moves through vibration. Vibration condenses into form. It is not poetry, it is architecture. What you think is blueprint. What you feel is frequency. Together they summon structure from the formless. Every mind is a projector, casting worlds upon the blank screen of the infinite. Most people believe they watch life unfold. They never see that they are the lens, the light, and the film. When belief wavers, the image flickers. When emotion ignites, color floods the frame. This is the secret art of manifestation. Creation through coherence. Look closely at any moment of your life. The pattern was drawn first in thought, then etched by repetition, and finally made solid by emotion. The world does not resist you. It reflects you. Even silence answers the tone of your inner dialogue. To create is not to force. It is to align. Hold a clear image in the temple of the mind. Breathe feeling into it until it hums with certainty. Then release it not with desperation, but with knowing reality. Like obedient clay reshapes around the steady sculptor. The ancients warned, you cannot think chaos and live harmony. Every undisciplined thought seeds a distorted echo. Every focused vision births precision. Thus, mastery of mind is not luxury. It is survival in a self-made universe. When this truth dawns, destiny stops being a mystery and becomes a craft. You are both architect and inhabitant of your thought worlds, and as you begin to command them with awareness, the veil between inner and outer thins, until you realize they were never separate. Ahead lies an even deeper secret, the collective dream, where many minds weave one shared illusion. The world feels solid, yet it is not. It appears fixed, yet it endlessly flows. reality lies beautifully convincingly, and with such precision that almost no one questions the spell. From childhood, we are taught to trust our senses. We believe the ground is firm, the body is real, and the material world is the ultimate authority. But beneath the poetry of appearances, matter dissolves into something far stranger and far more mental. What we call reality is not a wall, but a waveform collapsing only when observed. Quantum physics has quietly admitted what mystics declared long ago. Matter is not a solid thing, but a relationship between the observer and the observed. Your mind is not trapped inside a physical universe. The physical universe is projected inside your mind. So why does it feel so real? Because humanity lives inside a shared hallucination. Not a random hallucination, but a collective agreement. We were given the same symbols, the same definitions, the same rules. We inherited a consensus script, and then forgot we were actors reading lines. Society calls it normal, mystics call it sleep. Matter is simply the slowest form of vibration, a dream that moves so slowly it appears frozen like ice, pretending it is not water, like water pretending it is not vapor. Everything is mind in different costumes. Frequency wearing form the chairs. The trees, the cities, the stars, each is a symbol rendered through perception. Color does not exist without an eye. Sound does not exist without an ear. And quote-unquote reality does not exist without a conscious witness to interpret the code. So what then is the world? A mirror, a feedback loop, a mental interface through which consciousness experiences itself? We are co-authors of this simulation. Yet most live only as readers of a script someone else wrote, but once you see the illusion, something awakens, separation thins, solidity loosens, and the question that once felt dangerous becomes liberating if matter is a shared dream. Then what else can we dream into being? The illusion is not the prison. Forgetting that it's an illusion is. And when the mind remembers its authorship, reality begins to bend. Now a new challenge appears. Not to escape the dream, but to master it. That is where we go next. Across ages and empires, a single law has crowned. The wise mind becomes world. The sages did not preach escape from the illusion, but dominion over it, for if reality is a dream, then consciousness is the dreamer, and the awakened magus learns to shape the dream from within. The ancients whispered that thought is the first substance, intention the first tool, and attention the first ritual. Reality bends not to idle wishes, but to the mind that is gathered, consecrated and aimed. Just as a scattered flame cannot forge steel, a scattered mind cannot forge worlds. To shape the field, the inner world must become a temple, still focused and singular in purpose. Every true mystic begins with purification of thought, removing the noise, the doubt, the emotional static that distorts the signal of creation. For the universe responds not to the surface mind, but to the dominant vibration beneath it. When the mind becomes one-pointed, intention becomes a command. This is the first right of the architect, to think consciously instead of mechanically. Not every thought deserves to live. Not every belief deserves to root itself in soil. The magus chooses thought with the same reverence. A calligrapher chooses ink, aware that every stroke becomes scripture. Then comes the second right, imagination as invocation. What you vividly hold within the universe must echo, without the unseen shapes. The seen form follows frequency. Image precedes incarnation, The outer world is but a shadow cast by the inner sculpture. And the third right, trust in the law. Creation moves by rhythm, not haste. Seed germination. Blossom fruit. The untrained mind digs up its own garden, seeking proof before the roots have taken hold. But the magus knows. The moment of intention is the moment of birth. Even if the senses have yet to witness the child. Thus reality becomes ritual. Each thought a sigil, each belief a spell. Each emotion a current sent into the living field. The illusion of matter has been exposed. The power of mind has been reclaimed. Now only one question remains. What will you create when nothing stands between thought and world? The path ahead answers this by revealing the laws that govern manifestation itself. You are no longer a seeker. You are a maker of mind that molds the real. The illusion has been unveiled. The architect awakened. Now you must learn the magician's formula, the ancient sequence by which thought becomes world, and the unseen becomes event. For creation is not chaos, it is craft. The first instrument is will. Not desire, not hope, not preference will. Desire trembles, hope wavers. But will is a blade pure. Unwavering intention carves pathways through the field of possibility. The magus does not ask the universe. He declares he does not wish. He decides. Will is the command that gives direction to the dream. The second instrument is imagination. What will commands, imagination designs all. Form is born as image, as inner vision. As the mind's blueprint, to imagine vividly is to open a portal. To see it, truly see it as already real, is to place your signature upon the quantum clay. In the temple of the mind, imagination is invocation. The third instrument is emotion. Emotion is the fire that animates the sigil of thought. It is the current that electrifies intention and sends it pulsing into the living field. Without emotion, thought is a cold symbol. With emotion, it becomes a spell. The heart is the furnace, the feeling is the flame. The fourth instrument is rhythm and persistence. Every creation unfolds by rhythm. Seed, root, bloom, fruit. The untrained abandon their work during the root phase, seeing no proof beneath the soil, but the magus holds the vibration steady and unbroken, until form must obey frequency. Rhythm is the oath you make with your own mind. Will imagination. Emotion, rhythm. This is the formula, the quadrivium of manifestation. When these four move as one, reality cannot resist. Probability bends, circumstances rearrange. What was once impossible becomes inevitable. And what was once fate becomes clay in the hands of the awakened. But one mystery still remains. What force listens, what field receives these commands? What intelligence bridges inner and outer? To answer that, we must walk into the hidden chamber, beneath the mind itself, and there, the subconscious waits.